Be your cue.
We're on. We ready?
I'm watching it.
The bell's a little bit.
It's done.
Just a little bit.
We're good.
Done.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our Monday, February 3rd, 2025 Cascade City Council meeting. We'll have a call to order with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Weber.
Here.
Hush.
Here.
Gale.
Here.
Delaney.
Here.
Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Gale,
I'll second.
second by Delaney, all in favor.
Aye.
At this point, we'll have public comment. There's a limit of 3 minutes per person on agenda items and local government issues. Seeing none, we'll go to the consent agenda. City Council minutes, 1/13/25, Cascade Library Board minutes, 1/14/25, Cascade Economic Development Corporation minutes, 12/18/24, Cascade Municipal Utilities Board minutes, 1/13/25, January 27, 2025 claims. Is there any questions? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
I'll second it.
second by Gale. All in favor?
Aye.
Just a point of order. I see the Jones County Director is here. Is there, you wish to speak, or?
Later, yep.
Okay. See,
Yeah, during the budget workshop, budget
okay,
discussions.
I'm sorry.
Library Director to review 23-24 annual report.
Okay, so every year, the state requires that we submit an annual report. Usually the dates kind of line up well with budget, so this represents July 1st, 23 through June 30th of 24. And this is just a nicer way of looking at it, I suppose, than I have a whole packet of numbers that I kind of submit, and they give us the ability to print it, but it's pretty basic and bare bones. So this is a nicer way for people to kind of look and see what we do and what our goals are, our mission statement. And then when you get past those, you can kind of see some of the collection counts and some of the resources that we provide. So we have a total collection count as of June 30th of 24 of 13,839 items, and not included in those items would be the 5 mobile hotspots, board games, puzzles. We have Steam kits that people can check out and take home, and the kids can use them for different things. For example, there's one with dinosaurs in it, and there's one with a little castle that they can build. So, and there's different reading games in there. Our DVD and audiobook collection counts 1,734. The audiobooks on CD are kind of fading out on us because of our subscriptions to Bridges, or Libby, Overdrive. It goes by a few different names, and Hoopla, where people can check out e-audiobooks and listen to them that way. It's a lot nicer than the CDs because they can't be scratched. So downloadable materials, our users have access to 1,210,363 ebooks and 331,244 e-audiobooks that they could access on their phones or tablets. And those are through subscriptions that the library carries. The one to Bridges, Overdrive Libby is around $850 a year, and then Hoopla, that is per use based. So the numbers, it's popular, so they kind of continue to climb. People can go on there and get the brand new James Patterson book or whatever it is they're interested in right away today, download it, listen to it in their car or at home, or read it whichever. The next page shows some of the usage by material types. It's a little hard to look at, I admit. So the category numbers are at the beginning, so like 14 is chapter books, and there were 2,109 of those checked out in that 23-24 period. Board games is a recent addition category-wise, so there aren't any on this graph. But you can see that adult fiction is fairly popular with 4,936 items, followed by the ebooks that we subscribe to with Libby and Hoopla, and picture books. So you can kind of see some of that. The pictures show different kids coming to different programs that we did, especially over the summer. The next page has the number of people with library cards, and I anticipate that that's going to grow. I think the number's kind of odd, but it is what it is. 1,234 as of the date that the numbers were entered. 13,785 people came to the library between July 1 of 23 and June 30th of 24. And they saved a total of $335,954.80 by checking out items from the library as opposed to purchasing them at the store. The next page shows computer and Wi-Fi services with 3,349 people using either computers or bringing in their own devices and hooking up to our Wi-Fi. Some of the different things that we provide access to are on there. So like Brain Fuse, there's educational tools on there. Kids can get tutoring. That one is provided through the state library. It's really nice. I've tried the tutoring with my oldest for algebra at that point, so works pretty well. We have a couple databases, A to Z USA, A to Z World Culture, the hotspots that are available, and then following page shares some of the programs. 308 library programs were offered with 5,700 participants. And I know, kind of running the numbers for a board member that had requested it, based on the budget that year, we had $6,500 in that budget. We spent $6,400.91 of that budget, which came out to 89 cents per participant at the programs. So, and then some of the programs offered are listed there, and yeah, that's kind of what I have. Any questions or?
That's good, thanks.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8, consideration of resolution number 13-25, resolution approving the landscape quote from Dagwood's Lawn and Landscape for the Cascade Public Library in the city of Cascade, Iowa.
Yeah, I see there was 3 people looked at it. The one just didn't return a bid or decided not to bid. There's only 2 bids returned.
I didn't get that.
This is a landscaping quote. There are 3 companies looked to bid. You only received 2 back, and one just decided not to bid.
We were told by the one that they didn't think they could get the job done when they wanted.
Okay.
We got a bid from American Lawn and Landscaping LLC from Monticello and from Dagwoods. This is Jake. And I kind of think that Jake should receive the bid because of his plans for us. He can get the job done when we need it. He's upgrading the rock that looks excellent with the stone on the new building. It's called caramel quartz. It's just a really, really good looking rock rather than just having a regular pea rock that most people use.
And that's the one that's down
Right.
by the building.
It's
So there's
demonstrated right outside
a
the
sample
rear.
down
where the,
by the
and
library.
anyone that's seen it
Mhm.
really
Looks really
likes
good.
it a lot.
It's very
And
nice.
Jake has in his possession, how much, Jake?
I think I got like 5, 6 ton on hand that I said I'd donate. Save yourself $900.
And the rest he's gonna sell us to us at cost.
Yeah, all the materials basically cost, just to help.
Thank you.
help. And then, what else? And for the McDermott garden, like the garden panel and then a planter I was gonna donate. I guess I got copies here, I can give you a picture of what they'll look like.
Another reason I'd like to have Jake get the bid is, he said he would care for the plants, which is huge. Because the garden club is pretty well maxed.
Yeah.
You know, we can't really do it anymore, and that would mean a lot.
Just to keep an eye on things.
Right, right.
Yep.
Yeah, the fall, probably won't have to do any cleanups in the fall.
Mhm.
There'll be fresh plants, but going forward, cut them back or as needed.
Yep,
Yeah, that'd be handy.
thank you.
What's the difference in the two bids, Jake?
If you look at the one above, it says caramel quartz rock, and then one was the Iowa Jack, like
Oh, I
3/4,
see.
like
Gotcha.
basically pea gravel.
Mhm.
And another reason, like you know, it's out here, you got pea gravel, and people
Mhm.
walk through it, kind of rolls, it ends up on the sidewalk.
Yep.
This stuff's more of a flatter.
Yep. Gotcha.
Did you say you had some pictures of that other?
Yeah, like that's, you guys have, but that's a garden panel, we're gonna put it in the McDermott garden,
Okay, gotcha.
and then a planter.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that made, so. Monica could put it where she wants to.
Oh, that's nice.
I think one of the main issues I really like is the rock. It's really a nice feature.
Mhm.
Yeah, having it not roll out and being flatter definitely makes a difference.
Mhm. And the plants would be comparable to the other bidder. But the care is huge.
Mhm.
I don't mind helping, but it's not something that I could do alone.
Yeah.
Or the garden club. I need to ask the garden club to do it anymore.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney.
I'll second it.
Second by Gale, roll call.
Weber,
Aye.
Hush,
Aye.
Gale,
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 9, consideration of resolution number 11-25, resolution approving fiscal year '24 and fiscal year '25 budgeted funding to Cascade Economic Development Corporation. Does anybody have any questions about
This
this?
is what we've done for years, or for how long, right?
Mm-hmm.
One time.
I make a motion, we just get them back up to speed.
Motion by Weber,
I'll second it.
second by Gale, roll call.
Hush,
Aye.
Gale,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Weber.
Number 10, consideration of resolution number 12-25, resolution approving a firefighters intergovernmental mutual aid agreement between Macokota Fire Department and Cascade Fire Department. Is there any questions about this?
How many do we presently have agreements with?
We have a joint one with both Jones County and Dubuque County. All those are done together. They would be a Jackson County department, so.
Okay, I mean, it'd be like Dyers, presently be Dyersville, Epworth, Farley.
All of
yeah.
Dubuque County, all of
Okay,
Jones.
okay, thanks.
If nothing else, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Weber,
Second?
second by Hush, roll call.
Gale,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Hush.
Aye.
Number 11, consideration of resolution number 9-25, resolution approving pay application number 12 for the Cascade Public Library Project in the city of Cascade, Iowa. Is there any concerns with this? If none, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
I'll second.
Second by Gale, roll call.
Delaney,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Hush,
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Number 12, consideration of ordinance number 25-24, an ordinance amending Title 6 Physical Environment of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cascade, Iowa, and this is in regard to water rates, and this is the third and final reading. If there's no questions, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Weber,
Second.
second by Hush. Roll call.
Weber,
Aye.
Hush,
Aye.
Gale,
Aye.
Delaney.
Aye.
Number 13, consideration of resolution number 10-25, resolution approving change orders from Garland Construction Incorporated, construction contract for the new Cascade Public Library.
I still have problems with the drive-up. I mean, we were supposed to have a drive-up, and obviously you cannot drive up to it. Is there any type of repercussions or anything we can do? I mean, any of us who have work done at our house, if it turns out it's not done properly, or you can't use it, we would definitely not pay for it.
So, we have a 2-year warranty.
But I mean, this is beyond a warranty. I mean, warranty would be more so if the asphalt starts cracking up or something.
If something didn't last.
Right, but we have a 2-year warranty bond on the project, and we discussed this at one of the last meetings that we had, and there's been some of us that have driven through it, and it works.
I cannot drive through it.
Well, I mean, maybe you can't, but some of us have. And so at this time, the only thing they offered was to put like a bumper guard against cut the bollards down, put this bumper guard against the building, which I think, I'm not sure if that will work. We're going to, we left it as an open item. So
I would like to see somebody drive through that.
Yeah.
Monica did.
I, honest to God, I was 3.5 feet away with my van. My van's got a short hood on it, and I was 3.5 feet. Unless you sit there and jockey around, I don't see any way that you can drive through
Well, I've
that.
been concerned about it ever since,
What's
you
that?
know, you've been concerned about it. So finally, when there wasn't a barricade there, I was with Norb and I said, let's drive up there. And I did, got through. The next day I thought, well, let's go and pretend you're going to put a book in. So I did. I pulled up. I had to roll down my window, open my door a little bit, and then I could drop my books.
To get
Just like-
closer.
Just like when I go to the ATM
Yep.
machine, I have to roll down my window, open the door, and use the machine. I mean, it's probably not made for every vehicle, but I think for the majority that it would work.
My van, for example, it doesn't have a long hood to it, so
No.
if you had a long hood on a pickup or even a vehicle,
Yeah.
and I was on the curb on the left, you know, to my left, I did, you know, I took everything you could, and I was still 3.5 feet away. So I
And we have
don't,
lots of great parking places for you to park and come in then, if you want people to come in, you know. And then I asked,
but it's not usable. I mean, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
it's totally not usable for,
For your van, probably not, but I have no problem.
I would like to see,
I've done it.
I would like to
I've
see
done it.
somebody, I'd like to see somebody attempt to.
I've done it how many times?
And didn't make her do it with her.
Didn't hit the curb, didn't-
or whatever
Well, the
she
one that
has.
you and Megan went down there and
Yeah,
did it,
she
so.
Put her big.
Why would-
And she's got a bigger vehicle than I do.
Yeah, so.
You have to jockey back and forth.
You just gotta miss the curb.
and I had one of the people from FEH, I asked them to drive through when we had our punch list walk. And she went through and she goes like this.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I'd like to keep it open.
You can hit, I don't think you can hit the first one, but you can hit the second one.
Yeah. So, thank you.
Well, there's two of them though.
Right. The first one, you can, I
So
agree.
you're jumping out of the vehicle.
No, I can put it right out my window.
Well, for sake of discussion, I'll let it go, but I would say that, has any of the other council people tried to drive through?
I drove through. I
Did it
didn't
work
have,
for you?
I mean, it's an awkward, I fully admit, when you go up and through there, it's definitely awkward going through it, but, it's doable. I didn't have an issue. I took my pickup truck
Is it
through
is it
it.
satisfactory, I guess? is what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I mean, the way I also approached it in my mind, looking at it, you know, like if I was pulling up to a fast food place or something, yeah, it would probably not work out so great, but I'm dropping off some books. It's not, you know, what I mean, if I gotta crack the door a little bit and drop it in the box, you know, I'm just dropping off some books. So I'm not actually looking to, you know, do an interaction there. I didn't find it, I didn't hit the curb or anything. I mean, when you come up and around there, I mean, in a
You gotta
bigger
pay
vehicle,
attention.
you gotta pay attention to what you're doing, but, I mean, yeah, but I did it. I didn't have an issue, but yeah, I would've had to roll down the window and reach to the second one, and if I wanted to go to the first one, I would've had to open the door and stick it in there, but I think for throwing a few books in, I think it does the job.
I do too. Are you different?
One's for,
Books and ones for
DVDs and one's
DVDs.
for books.
So you gotta do the right one.
By sign on her.
Yeah.
Did we have a motion on that?
Not yet.
I don't think, I don't know, did we?
No,
No.
we did not.
No, okay.
Any other questions?
The other change order for the alley, what was that about?
All of it was due to some of the utility work that had been done, and they had to make some adjustments, and so there was additional work.
Utility work as in the stuff that was
Yeah.
supposed to be done, like what? Like some water and sewer?
I'm not exactly sure,
Part of the
just
project,
some
or-
utility work, and so there was adjustments to what they had to do to prep.
Is that the
Yeah,
work
the
that Beatty had to
big,
do?
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Is that the work that Beatty had to do?
Yeah,
Yeah, he had to prepare
yeah.
the alley so that it could be blacktop, get it up to grade and everything.
I was down there, it seemed like between sewer work, electric, phone, I mean, but there were several,
Different things going
there were a
on.
lot of different things, I imagine. There was a lot of compaction that had to be done, I assume, because it was tore up almost twice a month or something, it seemed like, all summer.
And then he didn't do it, city with him, somebody with him.
I mean, this is normal change orders.
Yep. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Gale,
Second.
second by Delaney, roll call.
Hush,
Nay,
Gale,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Number 14, consideration of resolution number 14-25, resolution approving an agreement for covenants and restrictions for Iowa Main Street Investment and City of Cascade, Iowa. What's this involve?
Okay, so this, I got a call, whenever, Friday, the 24th, as I said, that Iowa Economic Development Authority was looking for these two documents that had been sent over last March. And I looked at it, the one document you guys had approved, and so, but it had never got uploaded, so I uploaded it, but the other one had never, you guys had never even seen it. So that's what this document is, so we just need to approve it and then have it signed, and then I need to just upload it into the system.
Okay, so it's just formality?
Yeah, it's just, because they're going through the closeout for this grant, and they saw that they didn't have it.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
second.
second by Hush, roll call.
Gale,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Hush.
All right,
Reports, Fred? Nothing? Deanna?
I mean, I really don't have really anything either, except just a reminder, after tonight's meeting and budget discussions, leave your binders here, because I'm going to add to it and prepare more for next meeting. So we will have more budget discussions after the council meeting next week, so just so you're
Gotcha.
aware.
I just have a question on the sidewalk inspection program. Are we just modeling that after other cities?
Yep,
Okay.
one that I'm familiar with, so.
I know Monticello's had one for a number of years. Maybe somebody would look at it as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 16, fiscal year 26 budget discussion. Who's first?
Do you, fire.
Bert?
Do you want to put it up on the screen?
Give me a second here, just
It would
to.
have been the fire EMS library that I sent to you.
Just gotta switch stuff here.
You also all got it emailed to you as well. But you also have hard copies in front of you.
Your copy is with, underneath them. Here, you can have mine.
But because it wasn't here.
Oh, it's because you weren't
Because you
here.
weren't
It's
here.
because you weren't here. It was supposed to be
Why
the
you
last
didn't get
meeting, but
it.
you can just have my hard copy, that's fine. I can
Okay.
print another one.
I can-
So, I guess this year, not a whole lot has changed, from years in the past. I got the same form I've been using, working with Deanna to maybe update that a little bit, but, just a few highlighted places that we updated some things, obviously, was some utilities. Those costs keep going up, so we were looking at last year's bills, we just moved that up just a little bit, just to make sure we stay kind of on par with those prices. We are finishing our garage door project this year. That's down in our capital equipment, I'm sorry, capital improvement, section there. As most of you know, you were here last year, we did 3 doors. We're gonna finish the other 3 that have not been updated in the last 20 years, so. Those new doors went in last year. They've been great, so. We're gonna get the other 3 done. A lot of things on here I don't have a whole lot of control over. Insurance obviously went up. Our repair and maintenance fund, I think we went up just a little bit, just due to the fact that even though our new engine's currently under warranty, eventually that will run out, and we also have a lot of aging equipment in the building. One of those would be our 1988 tankers, so there's been some repairs this year, and there's gonna have to be some in the next year too. Also, our other engine is going to have a pretty large repair done to the pump here in the next few weeks, so we just wanna make sure we're staying on par with keeping up the equipment we have. Obviously, new equipment's very expensive, being that last engine was just finalized on purchase this last year, you know, at $550,000. That number would have significantly been higher if we hadn't signed the contract when we did, so we're trying to make the equipment last a little longer. We're making some improvements to some things on the engine to stretch its lifespan out a little bit. Other than that, like I said, we didn't change a whole lot. The capital equipment field, where that sheet is here, sorry. That is, find it faster. That is going to be our, back to getting our gear up to date. So for the last, I don't know, probably 8-9 years or so, we've been slowly stepping through purchasing new gear for guys. Gear's only good for 10 years, just like it seems like everything at the fire station kind of has a 10-year lifespan, and they tell us it's not safe anymore. So we keep old gear for our new firemen. In their first year or so, they are not able to go interior due to their lack of certification and their probation year. So until you get that certification, they wear old gear, which is perfectly safe. They're not doing any dangerous activities overall, so they're not going in a burning building or anything like that. But for those activities, the guys have to have current gear. The last time gear was purchased was about 12 to 14 years ago, depends on, some of the gear's been purchased since then, but that's what started this process. We were trying to find a way to fund it without having everybody being expired at once. I don't know, Did that sheet make it in here?
Yeah, everything you.
Okay, I just don't see it, I must have misplaced it. But, set of gear has gone up significantly every year. So, one set of gear costs about $3,700 now, which we didn't buy any last year because we got the helmets. And I think gear back the year before that was almost $2,400, so it's made significant jumps. That being said, our boots are another thing that haven't been planned for in the gear. We are gonna take donation funds this year from some of our donations that we've had for our fundraisers, and we're gonna buy the boots, because I just didn't see where I could stuff another 15 grand in my budget, so. We have our gun raffle coming up, our 200 club, there's a lot of things coming up that we can fund that through, so that was the plan there. As far as our equipment goes, our trucks, working with Deanna, right now the guys, we're trying to come up with somewhat of a plan to start to bring towards people, but, I mean, obviously with the last purchase, you see, we can't just keep buying new stuff every couple of years, the money's not gonna be there. But we also eventually have to have plans for these vehicles, so, we're looking at some options maybe to replace the old tanker with something maybe in the used market, you know, jump 10, 15 years. And maybe something that doesn't have a stick shift in it. I know for some of us that's not a problem, but fortunately my firemen keep getting younger and sometimes that can be an issue, so.
They wonder what that extra pedal's for?
That's a security system. And this really long stick coming out of the floor, yeah. Also just being the fact that the truck, well, Mark, when did you get off the fire department? Was that truck there then?
Yep.
You know, so it's been around a while. It's a great truck, but it's starting to show its age. It's really starting to, it was used when it came to us, so it's had a good run. We also have, obviously, we replaced the grass truck recently, that being the vehicle that was replaced before the engine. That was a joint effort between the farm board, as it always is, and you guys, and then we also stepped in a little bit on the fire department side with some donation funds to help make that happen. We did the other tanker in 2015. I mean, the reality is that should last hopefully another 20-some years, but we need to start having a plan. So we're trying to work on how that works. So hopefully we'll have more in the future on that. I always try to give you guys a little breakdown of calls and stuff, just so people understand where we're at and how that works. Happy to announce that I'm at 29 members right now, and I did just get a guy ask for an app yesterday, so that first time in a long time we've been back to 30 members. I would think it's not gonna stop us from recruiting. If I could get another 2 or 3 guys that are willing to start the process, I don't think there's a huge cost to us. I mean, maybe a little insurance, but outside of that, the first year is really rough. They gotta get to know us, we gotta get to know them. They gotta decide, is this something they wanna put the time in for the schooling, so. Hopefully we find some more people, but, right now we're sitting much better than we have in prior years, so that's great. We talked about a mutual aid agreement a few minutes ago. We had several requests into our district this year. We requested 4 times, and we were requested out of district twice. So it's kind of a give and take. Some years that's higher, some years that's lower. And sometimes it's very a very big necessity. I mean, we can't always provide enough people, especially out of the box. So we had a fire just the other day, middle of the day, school's letting out on a Wednesday. It's just not a good time. I only had 2 firemen for the first 25 minutes, but Monticello actually was accidentally paged also, so I didn't have to call them. But they were there and it made it possible to get done, so. Then there's some sheets there, fire incident sheets. They just kind of give you the high-level view of what the calls were and what districts they were in. Obviously, we cover a large area of rural plus the city, so it gives you like when you see Whitewater, Washington, Cascade, those are the townships. And then the city is listed under city limits. We had a total of 92 calls last year. And that is, I run that from January to December 31st. So just as far as the calls go. A little breakdown of what our calls, where they were. I make these nice little pie charts. They're kind of neat to look at, but then at the same time, they can be a little deceptive. So you see it says city limits was 50% of our calls, or actually 54, I'm sorry, 50 calls total. The number's a little higher than that, really, if you think about it, because the all-district calls that are in there, those would be things like our parades that get thrown in there. We generate a case for that, or storm watches, things like that. Storm watches really benefit the city more than anybody. we're not going far enough out into our district usually to be a huge benefit to the outer areas. Some of that information does get relayed fast enough to them, but we're really here to sound the sirens for towns. So if you look at it that way, all of a sudden, you're well over 60% of the calls being city-related calls. And then there's the incident pie chart. I apologize, this thing prints really weird, but it kind of gives you a view of what types of calls we're running. I'm very thankful to report that last year there was only 2 real structure fires, one here in town and one outside of town. That's a great number to see continually going down. And our other calls, really, for the most part, we're getting some crop and, rubbish fires, stuff like that. Those are usually unfounded. Those are someone driving by on the highway they see, whether it be, someone right along the highway burning some trash or someone burning a ditch that was called in and they just didn't get it communicated correctly. Our biggest call volume is helping out the ambulance service. I have a group of probably 6 to 7 guys, really ran by probably 2 to 3 of them that are pretty quick to jump on those. So that was 38 of our calls, and that was almost 41%. So that's a big portion of what we're doing right now, but it could change tomorrow too. So, and then our call ranges. On that sheet there, you can see when the calls are as far as time of day. I broke it out when I did it for the farm board. I wrote some handwritten notes here that I apologize, Dean, I didn't give you. See if I can find them real quick in my other packet. But it breaks out fairly even across the board. No, I did not bring that sheet with, I apologize. But oh, there it is. So I went 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. I kind of called that our working day hours. For most people, that's where they're at. It's actually the majority of our calls. It was 53 of our calls during the year. And then I broke it out at 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. That was only 20 of our calls, which ironically is probably when I have the most guys in town. And then the sleeping hours, I went from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. again. And that was about 18 of our calls. So obviously that one time frame's a little larger than the others, but that's the time of day when the most guys are gone. We're very fortunate. We have several businesses in town that let guys go. Some even pay their guys while they're gone, and it makes a huge difference. But not everybody can work in town. Unfortunately, we just don't have a large enough workforce for that. So, but that's an important part of our structure, is having those people that are here in town. So, but outside of that, we're having a good, like I said, recruitment year. We're getting some younger guys, so I think out of the last 5 people put on, 4 of them were under the age of 22. So that's kind of a neat thing to see. Or hasn't always been the case. So. Any questions for me?
Good job.
Thanks for
Thank
everything
you.
you do, Bert.
Thank you, Bert.
Thanks, Chief.
I'm actually glad we didn't have the meeting last week, because as soon as it got
I know.
canceled, we had a call, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who's next on your list?
EMS,
Kim?
you're up.
So I'm here to present the ambulance budget. There we go. So we do have a few changes. So last year we had switched to being paid while we were on calls. So on that first line item, it just looks odd because it's a huge jump, but it was originally reported in a different area, and so we moved it up to the salaries now. And that would also include the FICA, IPERS, and then we also had increased our workers' compensation. And the same, go down to utilities, that has increased. Same with insurance. Our building rent lease, has changed now that we're in our new building with Chad Demmer versus the building with Joe Reif. However, with the new building, we have a ton more space. Makes training so much easier. We can wash rigs easy. We can take cats out of rigs while they're still in the garage, which is really handy, especially in the winter or if it's raining out, when we're doing weather training or just general cleanings, and deconning the rigs each month. And then, so yeah, in capital equipment, you know, I had talked to Dean last week on that, and Rich, that's at the end of my, or that report, Mike. Keep going. Yep. So now it's slashed out, but, you know, previously it was scheduled at 25,000. But the money is moved from the city's general fund to transfer that, you know, to the appropriate capital equipment, you know, as needed for that. So last year, we had 300 calls. We did get 2 crew members and 1 possibly more joining this year. Just to let everyone know, if you haven't seen it on Facebook, Steve Moran, who was with Cascade Ambulance for 40 years, retired. So a huge thanks goes out to him and all his years and expertise in this.
You'll miss
world.
him.
We are greatly going to miss him. There is a possibility of another one retiring this year. Currently, we're sitting at 9 members, and obviously we're looking for more. Because even with 9 members at 300 calls, it keeps us pretty busy, and we're very thankful for fire when we don't have a second person to go on a call. We can page them, and they're there in a split second for us. So any other questions for me? Well, and I guess, I mean, we had conversation when you were up, Deanna, was that last month or whatever, that we're looking into, you know, starting the conversations of looking into a new rig. But we're far from making any decisions on that. However, it's a year lead time to get one from the time you order it to get it. You know, and then supplies, you know, all that type of stuff, you know, everything goes up, unfortunately.
Kim, I got a question.
Yep.
I don't know if this is a typo or what, but professional fees, last year's expense was 21,000 and you budget 2,000. Was there something out there like software or something that we purchased?
So
or-
last year we had, was because of that grant.
Oh,
that-
okay.
I forget the
That
name of.
assessment that they
Yep.
Yeah, the
had done.
assessment they did.
Okay.
So that's where that,
Just big jump
Yeah,
in
that's-
numbers there, so.
yeah.
That's why.
Yep, that was a huge jump, but.
As far as the new rig, the consultants said that they typically will keep the box or the case and whatever. Is that how this will work, or?
I mean, that's something we can look into.
Okay,
I mean, yeah, we're like literally just starting these conversations.
okay.
and-
'Cause that was their observation where they came from, and that's basically what they do.
Yeah, to save the box and go with a new chassis.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melissa?
Okay. So obviously, with going into a new building, we've got some lines that are bigger than before. I know the board and I have discussed, like, our staffing. So we had an instance a couple months ago where I was out ill, and we had a staff member fall and get hurt. And we had to shut the library down that afternoon because there was nobody to fill it in. So in kind of looking at all of that and knowing that we have a new building, our recommendation is that we go to 2 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees to make sure that not only is the building open, but if we're doing a program in the community room, it's not really gonna work the way it does in the current building for me to be in the community room and then run back to the desk and run back to the community room. That obviously isn't feasible. So, that was one of the things with the salaries where there's an increase there. Let's see. So obviously that kind of plays into some of the other numbers with the FICA and the IPERS. Travel, training, and conference, we kept about the same. Building repair and maintenance goes up a bit, quite a bit. So some of that is cleaning costs, and then the it's recommended that we probably get the outside windows cleaned every 6 months to keep them looking nice. So that's about $1,600 a year, $700 to $800 per visit, so. Repair and maintenance of equipment. Obviously, we're gonna have a lot of new equipment. We do have to keep in mind that our hot spots are good for about 3 years, and then they start to go bad, and then they don't work. So we have to plan on replacing those on a pretty regular basis. And then, of course, I think we just wanted to make sure that we had some money in there for other things that we might, you know, like printer costs. I mean, obviously, we're still gonna have, we have a contract, we'll have a printer cost every 3 months. So that I believe falls into that line too. Utilities reflects kind of closing, or I guess, old and new, some on the current building and then going into the new building. Insurance, Deanna was able to get that number for us. Software is about the same. There's a couple things that we may add. I know we're looking at the computer in the children's area, which we will not have eyes on from the desk. So there's a nice subscription service we can get that'll kind of tell kids stories on that computer, and that's about $50 a month. So between that and that software covers our online card catalog that people can search online, put holes on materials and all of that. That's usually accounts for quite a bit of the software that we budget for. Professional fees, I'm gonna ask Deanna if she remembers how we.
That's increased because of the security the alarm system. We have an annual fee, I think, of $1,800.
Okay, thank you for remembering that. Books, the current budget's 28. Obviously, we haven't been ordering because the less we order, the less we have to move. I mean, we have ordered some things, otherwise nobody would come in. But once we're moved, I would anticipate that we'll spend some more of our budget getting some new things that we've been holding off on. So there we didn't want to increase it a whole lot just because we don't want to go too crazy. We don't want to outgrow our new building. But obviously costs keep going up, and then the books also covers, that part of our budget also covers like the Hoopla checkouts and all that, which is increasingly popular. So we tried to budget for that. That one's a little hard just because we get monthly at the end of the month. So office supplies, we increased a little. New building, I would think we'll probably use more of that. We didn't think we'd need a whole lot in building maintenance and supplies, but wanted to make sure we had something there just in case there was something that came up. Program materials, we did increase that, just anticipating more people in the door, trying to offer more programming. We do try to utilize some of our local free programmers like the Iowa State Extension Office and things of that nature. But during the summer, we do a lot of paid for programming, and even if we do it in-house, like construction paper and all of that stuff kind of falls into that category. And then we didn't think we would need any capital improvements, so.
Let's hope not.
Hours staying the same?
Yes, at least for now. You know, obviously, if there's more people in, if we're finding that we're kicking people out at night, more, you know, now usually 5:30 is kind of when things drop off. But if we find that more people are coming in and hanging around and wanting to stay longer, then we'll always look at that.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pick and choose.
Okay, so we're gonna move into the outside agencies, and we're unless there's someone that needs to present and to leave, is that a time frame or anything? We're gonna just go down the list in the order I have them, so, the chamber would go first. And this is in your binders under the orange tab, and what they've given me is in there.
All right, so I'm Caroline with the Chamber, for those who don't know me. But we're asking for the continued funding. This helps us just put on events, like the annual dinner, Wing Fest, Sunset Street Market, the golf outing, Small Business Saturday. And for these events, that money goes to advertising, entertainment, marketing materials, things like that. For example, for marketing materials, Small Business Saturday, we don't make the businesses pay for those marketing materials, such as the canvas bags that we hand out with goodies in them, punch cards, etc. This funding would also go to donating to various other events. This also allows us to keep the membership dues budget-friendly and tiered accordingly. So another example there, our classic membership is $150 a year, which comes out to about $12 a month. So that's nice for those small businesses that maybe can't afford the higher tier prices. Then we'd also like to bring back or implement workshops for the businesses at little to no cost to them. So marketing, small business, or social media marketing, HR resources. And then lastly, my part-time salary, obviously. But yeah, any other questions? Kind of kept it short and sweet. Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jones County Tourism.
I also made another little handout that I.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Kylene Weaver, Director for Jones County Tourism Association. I'm used to doing my live video, so I almost said coming live. I have been in my position for a year now, actually, with tourism. And in the past, we normally will ask each of the communities that we serve for a per capita. We very much appreciate you guys and your contributions over the years. Last year, you guys were able to contribute $117.90. And being that we are a nonprofit organization, all of that money goes back into advertising and marketing. When I first came on our board, I felt like my biggest thing that I wanted to do is to make sure that we're promoting Jones County as a whole. That was like a really big thing for me. In the past, a lot of the, like Anamosa and Stone City were more of a draw with the Grantwood. But I really have been working hard this last year on trying to collaborate with all of the communities that we serve. So I had actually come up here and had a tour with Sean and went and took some pictures and some videos, and I put them out on social media, as well as I was able to bring Tyler from Iowa's Scenic Views by Foot. He's an influencer who travels all the different communities, and he came and we toured your guys' museum here. I took pictures and put that out there. So just going forward, we're asking this year for actually 30 cents per person in Cascade. So we're asking for $715.50, which is more than last year. But I felt like with This last year, I was able to go through and get a new website up for tourism, and we've actually collaborated with Local Bowl. And so if you guys go to the Jones County Tourism website and you click on Cascade, you guys will pull up there. The council will be on there, the museum will be on there, and it just hit January 1st, so I'm still in the process of updating that, but that is gonna be another like cross-promoting resource for your guys' community. And like I said before, I really am big on getting out and exploring all the communities and making sure that we are servicing each of the communities, being that we are Jones County. However, you know, I mean, Annie's Treasure falls into that. Behringer Farms also falls into that. And I really do try to put all of that information out, but not just reaching those, also stopping at your guys' parks and doing live videos, and really trying to cross-promote all of your guys' areas and all that you have, recreational businesses, and all of the amenities that you guys have. So, like I said, it just hit January 1st, so I'm still in the process of adding things to it. But you guys are represented on our website now, which I am super excited about.
So I put it up there
Thank
for
you.
you.
Yeah, I'm super excited about. So, the money that you guys give us as a nonprofit does really help. I'm a part-time employee as well, so that really does help be able to allow us to have our website. And I also represented at the state fair this last year through Travel Iowa, and so I bring out pamphlets and brochures. And we had actually worked alongside with Carolyn and had our businesses event in Monticello. But I really am trying to make sure that we collaborate and are representing you guys as well. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Garden Club is next.
You gotta come back up again?
I think they do, that's why they're
See a
highlighted.
theme here.
I'm Monica Raker, representing the Cascade Garden Club. I'm president of the Garden Club. Doris Raker is secretary treasurer. We're asking for $1,200 this year. We have approximately 14 volunteers that have been on the club for many years, and they each put in many hours per season. We fill the pots downtown each season. The spring season, we reuse the plants, the artificial plants, and I think this will be our 4th year to reuse them. We have 59 planters to fill. Also, we have gardens at the jail, the Cooey Trail, Highway 136, the fire station, and we take care of the cemetery planter up at the top of, up the hill. With our $1,200, we purchase fertilizer for the season, and I shop around to try to get the best buy. I try to buy the fertilizer all at once and buy it for the 3 months that we fertilize. And we purchase 2 every season, topsoil, fresh topsoil, because it seems like somehow it disappears. And we shop local for live plants. We go to Hollow Tree for the majority of the plants that we plant. This does not include anything in the new library. The Garden Club doesn't intend to have to take care of that, you know, with a big capacity anyway. It might help a little bit, but anyway, that's my spiel. for the
Awesome
year.
job.
Yes, thank you very much.
Everything,
Very nice.
everybody comments about how nice everything looks every summer and seasonally. Thank you.
American Legion is next.
Hello, my name's Mike Weber with the American Legion here in Cascade. I'm here to request $5,000 as part of our social service agreement for nonprofit organizations. The city council has contributed $5,000 for the last 5 years, I believe. We use this money to help maintain our park over there. The park is used by high school and the semi-pro Reds team. And recently it was used by the library people since 136 Park or City Park was down. They used our park for a couple of events over there. The parking lot is adjacent to the swimming pool. That's used by the overflow swimming pool or swim meets. So this $5,000 goes towards maintenance of the park, pretty much. We maintain our sunscreen, the outfield fence, the lawn mowing, and the irrigation. And we provide the park for a 4th of July event and other fun fest, church festivals. We have a horseshoe area over there that people use, so it's a public park, and that's what our request is for this year. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. The Historical Society?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of the Tri-County Historical Society. My name is Linda Miller. I'm the secretary. This year, we are asking for a donation of our funding an amount of between $5,000 and $8,000. Our needs that we listed are greater than what we received last year, but we would be greatly appreciate the same level that we had last year. So we are trying to repair and maintenance on our school, one-room schoolhouse. It needs the front stoop and the steps scraped and painted. It needs storm windows to protect, kind of keep the quality of the foundation and the windows and the walls in place and intact. And then also there's a historic lamp post out front. Needs sandblasting and painting, and the two of them together are like $26.50 for those two projects. And then also insurance, utilities, and just general operating expenses have increased over the last few years. We're asking for a little help with that. As you know, the Historical Society depends on memberships, which we keep at a really low price for our members. Most of them, a lot of them are retirees, and donations and funding from like you, what we get from you. So we really appreciate that. So like I said, our needs that we listed in our request are a little greater than what we received last year, but we would be so happy, extremely happy with just the funding that at that rate that we received last year. We could do a lot with that going forward. Is there any questions on any of those projects?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for this opportunity.
The Lions Club?
My name's Leo Seppi for the Lions Club. I'm the treasurer, and we're just asking for a donation for the 4th of July fireworks. Again, like we always do. I think it's $9,500 we're asking this year again. I think that's what we got last year. Is that right? I can't remember. I have to look.
You got 9,400 last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I guess we can go have a raise for
request is
$100.
9,000.
Okay, that's all, and then, thank you. That's the only thing we do with it is the fireworks.
Fireworks,
Yeah. So,
which are great.
yeah, they're getting more expensive all the time. So, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Leo.
Yep.
Economic Development?
Derek Lumsden, Jones County Economic Development. I know some of you know me better than others. Excuse me. I haven't been for a while because, I don't remember why I didn't come last year, but I apologize that I wasn't here to ask for the donations. You guys have been very great in the last several years since I've been on the team, 7 years now, contributing to Jones County Economic Development. And we've always been trying to be a good partner to you all as well. It's one of the things that, for my line of work, obviously we serve all of Jones County, and people would be like, well, why don't you stop at the Jones County line? Well, that obviously doesn't make any sense at all. But to me, if you look at Cascade as a community, it seems to resonate a lot more to a town like Monticello and Anamosa as what they are, as opposed to like what Dubuque is. So to me, it just makes sense that Jones County Economic Development works with the city of Cascade to do some of the work they'd like to see. Some of the things we do, I'm a sort of a one-man show, so I get to do it all. So my hat drawer is really full. But to tell you some of the things we have done and that we continue to do, and ways we try to impact our communities as well as Cascade. We were in the middle of a $6 million fiber project. I don't think Dubuque was eligible for that any of that money, but the OCIO out of Des Moines put out an internet call a couple of years ago to see where is broadband missing. And in Jones County, we had a 5-mile radius, I think, that we put out of fiber. We are running fiber now to over 450 homes in Jones County. And that went to Eastern Iowa Fiber out of Wyoming. But one of the things that impacts Cascade is that we worked with Cascade Communications to try and access some of that money because they were thinking about coming south into Jones County towards Monticello. They unfortunately didn't get that $6 million and went to Eastern Iowa Fiber. But because of the relationships we developed with both of those organizations, they are actually working together to run fiber into Jones County instead of competing for it. Instead of running lines together, now Eastern Iowa Fiber and Cascade Communications have sort of mapped it out themselves. We'll take this amount, we'll take this amount, and that way they don't have to compete just lower prices and get into a bidding war, which means we're actually able to run more fiber through Jones County. So by the end of 2025, so by the end of this year, we should have approximately 97%, if not more, of Jones County fully fibered to every home and business. And that's possible because of some of the relationships we developed here with Cascade Communications. It could have easily been a bidding war, and it was nice that it wasn't. So it's one of the businesses that we work with and continue to work with quite frequently. Some of the other things we do is housing. A few of you might remember a few years ago I was up here, and a lot of people really hated me once I got done talking about putting housing, those 4 nice new houses up there behind the park. I was not very popular that evening. But those 4 houses are in. I don't know if they're all complete or not. It looks like they are. See, so I'm glad that worked out. But housing's one of the things we still work on. I learned a lot from that, so we do a little more of the community engagement first, but we're doing housing in Jones County as well, whether it's upper story housing, whether it's new housing. We're actually, if you follow us on Facebook, we're chronicling the prison home that we just purchased. So the Newton Correctional Facility builds houses, and it's for affordable families and entities. So we bought one, and we're putting it into Monticello to see if we can use it for infill lots and how that might work and some lessons learned. And that's something that, Cascade's eligible for as well. You guys would work through your COG to do it, so it'd technically be out of Dubuque, but we could help, with some of those lessons learned if the city does it or if Cascade Economic Development does it. We could help sort of train them on what to keep in mind as we went through all the hardships of it the first time to get it there. We're hoping to have it done in the next couple of weeks in terms of getting the appliances in and the stairs outside of it built and whatnot. So it'll hopefully sell for right around $200,000. Our goal is to break even. So depending on what the final numbers are, that's what the cost will be. And we're working with some banks to get some of the FHLB money or some of those first-time homebuyer grants. Also, a lot of cities that incentivize housing have to have what's called their LMI set-aside. We are also looking at potentially using some of Monticello's money for that to potentially buy it down if necessary for down payment assistance. So we're looking at a lot of ways to fund housing. That's something that obviously every community needs. I know in 2019 you had your housing assessment study that showed you needed, 200 some homes in the next 10 years. So maybe there's a unique way to get some of those that aren't just the traditional stick-built homes in your community. Some of the other things we've done are things that you guys have been doing probably for years, but new to us is the Brownsfield program out of ECIA, where you take old vacant commercial or industrial buildings and figure out ways to check for the hazards in them like asbestos and potentially fundraise or use funding from the EPA to get it out of there so those buildings can be repurposed. We're starting to do that as well in Jones County. We're suddenly under ECIA's umbrella for that, so we've been able to access it the past couple of years as well. A couple of things we're doing new that Cascade is more than welcome to be part of this too is our Jones County Business Lab. This is an online service that we partner with through the same people that run the innovation labs. It's the Rural Ideas Network, but it's an online 24/7 free coaching service for businesses. So it's not just like the SBDC that generally helps a startup. This is for anybody, whether you've been in business 10 minutes or 10 years, it doesn't matter. We do website evaluations, we do business coaching, we do succession planning, there's podcasts there's listening to, there's a library they can go read about some of the things they're interested in. And the nice thing is when they sign up for a coaching session, they're given a coach in that field if they have one. Now, there could always be something new that comes up that we don't have a coach for yet, but restaurants, small businesses, those types of things, they have that access 24/7, and it's all 100% completely free. It's something that we subsidize through our website at Jones County Economic Development. And that's something that you all are free to take part in as well. All you have to have is an email address to sign up, and then the rest of it's just looking around and enjoying yourself.
Is that on your site?
It's on our site, yep. And you can also go to ruralideas.net/Jones County, I think it is. Yeah, if you go to, actually I think it's under, if you go to the top left, and then under business resources. On the second drop bar, just under Jones County, under the green.
Oh, yep.
Jones County Business Lab. You click on it, there it is.
Nice.
And that's good for anybody, so, you know, the chambers can use it as well. Some of the other things we do, Prosperity of Eastern Iowa is a regional group of economic developers and cities in Eastern Iowa. It's housed out of ECIA, but it includes 7 counties in our region. We get together and we do a lot of economic development work, strategic planning for how we can help as a region grow. The last couple of years we've been focusing on tourism. So we've got a couple of Dubuque Racing Association grants that help with allowing us to fall under Travel Dubuque's umbrella to do more marketing, more tourism outreach, especially as the Field of Dreams opportunity continues to come along. The goal is, obviously, Dyersville wants to keep some of those people. They're not going to have every single tournament person, every single kid, every single parent, every single business being able to be housed in Dyersville. So can we draw them further afield to the Cascades, to the Anamosas, to the Maquoketas of the world while they wait in between games and stuff? So we did that last year. This year we're doing the same thing, but we're adding in influencers. You heard Kylene talk earlier about what she brought. This will have a component where different TikTok and online influencers will come in. They'll go to these different sites, and each county I think gets 6 to 10, and that we will be able to highlight either an amenity or an event or something we're doing, and bringing more people to be aware of it as they share it on their sites as well. So we're getting a lot of opportunities with the Dubuque Racing Association, but that's something we're doing region-wide to showcase just how well we all can work together. And speaking of that, you know, Caroline and Kylene and I, as well as the other chambers in Monticello Main Street, get together quarterly, and we just talk about things that are going on. If there's something that comes up, can we help? Try to partner, be aware of what the others are doing, because it's important that we all work together. We're neighbors, not enemies. So it's nice that we can do that, and hopefully it continues to go well. One of the unique things we're doing this year is in the fall of 2025, once I get all the details worked out, we're actually starting with the school districts of Anamosa and Midland, something called Night Moves. And this is a computer science curriculum that allows high school students to get the equivalent of a 4-year college degree by the time they graduate. Once they graduate high school with these 4 classes taken, then they'll do what I'm calling an internship, work study type of thing. Within 3 to 6 months, if they prove that they're capable of that, they can either get a job directly with this company doing computer science work, or any of the companies that they worked with during their internship can hire them directly. And the best part is they don't have to move. It's a requirement that they are not forced to move to work for these jobs, so they can stay in our community. And that's something that we tried to work through Kirkwood a couple of years ago, unfortunately it didn't work. So now we're taking it directly to the high schools. Cascade tried to come along with us. Unfortunately, there's a weird umbrella there with Western Dubuque that made it a little trickier. They're still working on it, so hopefully they'll join us in the future. But that's our goal to start in the fall of 25. And when we did interest sessions at Anamosa and Midland, we had altogether, I want to say 70 to 80 kids that were interested. And the goal is to graduate, even if we graduate half of those every 2 years, that's 40 jobs that could be staying local based on those people possibly wanting to live here, which makes the housing component even more important as we get through to that. So that's something that we're hoping to build on, but if we can do that, that'll give a computer science curriculum training and also save people a lot of money without having to necessarily go to school for it for the 4 or 5 years to pay for that as well. So it's something we're very excited about, and we're hoping to see really take off in those two communities, and then add more in our region as we go. And then some of the basic things we do, obviously, business recruitment and expansion visits. We visit businesses. I know ECIA does. I know Greater Dubuque does. Cascade sits in its own little world here of everybody loves it because you sit everywhere. So you have a lot of people helping you out, which is great. But I'm sure the businesses are like, boy, we get a lot of visits from people. But we try to help. We bring our students up here to look at some of the businesses you have. We bring Cascade students down to Jones County to see some of the businesses we have. We do what's called community career tours. 2 years ago, we did Cascade for industrial manufacturing. We took them to Weber Metals and to Cascade Manufacturing. Last year, we brought Cascade students down to Welter Seed and Honey to see some of the different ag avenues that were possible. There was a construction issue, so we weren't able to take them out to River Valley Cooperative, but that was the other place we were going to do it. But every year, we pick a different section of Jones County or Cascade and a different business sector, and we take students in their 9th grade year out to see what's possible. So as they're thinking about what I'd like to do in high school, if I want to take classes either NICC or Kirkwood, what options do I have? What do I need to be thinking about so I can make that journey a little easier for myself? And then some of the things I do are grant writing and research. I'm one of the few economic developers that actually do a lot of grant writing. It was what I did before I got into this field, so it helps me a little bit. Deanna doesn't need a lot of that help. She seems to do fine without me, but I'm always able to be there, and ECIA obviously plays the role here too. One of the few grants that I have helped with was, right when I first started, it was for the pool, for the CAT grant that you all received. I did help with that, but otherwise you all seem to do quite well without me. But I'm there as a resource if you need me, if you just have questions from a grant writing or research standpoint as well. I could go on, but I won't. I'll try to be shorter now. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them anytime. I go to the Cascade Economic Development meetings. Deanna used to sit on our board. For some of you might remember that as well. So we do try to keep the lines of communication open. And the $2,000 that we get from you just helps us be able to do some of the work that we do and hopefully spread it between Jones County and Cascade entirely. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Youth Coalition?
A theater, a community theater, great boys. I've never loved public speaking, although I end up doing more than I want to. But here's just, we can just take one of those. And I'm Jennifer Hoosman, and I'm so thankful that you had me come tonight because you guys have supported us for a number of years, and I've never got to introduce myself or really get to talk verbally besides the letter that I've written and things that I've sent over about our coalition. So I'm just going to take that opportunity a little bit to share just first of all just some of our success. I started over 20 years ago working with a grant. I got hired with the Animals and Schools for the Jones County, and it was just at the time 4 school districts. Olin had a middle school and a high school yet that were in this grant to reduce alcohol use. And then we decided after that was over, and we had extremely high rates. We were one of only 10 in the nation. I think there were 250 applications. We were 10 in the nation. It's actually a federal grant that doesn't exist anymore. And if you ask me, it wasn't as good of use of taxpayer money as the next grant that I helped us get for the next 10 years, and it was a drug-free community grant. And all this time when we were working, then we started added in, besides alcohol, we started focusing on marijuana and tobacco and things, and more of our community, getting everybody involved in sectors, our law enforcement, different things. And so up through, I was totally 100% for Jones County, and up through like 2000, spring of 19, I could work 100% for Jones County. We had grant funding. We started our 501c3 with our Jones County Safe and Healthy Youth Coalition, and they now contract me like I'm an ASAC employee, but for 20 years I've been working with Jones County. But then when we got the coalition, we started out, when we became our own 501c3, we started out doing fundraisers, things like that, so that we could eventually write some small grants, at least ourselves, not be an employer of record or anything. We're not that big of a group, okay? As you see, our budget's only like $37,000, okay? But we have worked hard, and one of the parts when we were had this grant was to work on sustainability, is come and ask all of the communities you're serving, can you
put a, portion to help, because so many grants out there now that we apply for, like, do not cover any salary. And so to have, people to be able, and that's really what you need the most when you're working, trying to build relationships, trying to, where it's affect policies, different things like that. We've really worked on environmental strategies, because we call them environmental, but that doesn't mean green. Sometimes it does once in a while. But instead of years ago, I was like a part of the Jones County Safe Coalition, and all we really knew to do was put on fun activities for kids, and you'd get like the same 30 kids that were probably never going to drink anyway come and help do a dance or whatever, and the numbers of underage drinking and marijuana use just kept going up and up. And it wasn't until we started putting more of the focus on businesses and working with the law enforcement, and then we really started, as you can see, we started having real success in the numbers. And if you told me, it's been over 20 years ago now, it was 2004 when it started, that we would see this rate of underage drinking. We actually had the first grant we had, it included the Communities Mobilizing for Change on alcohol. We had an evaluator. It was a huge grant we had the first time. It was $500,000 a year for 3 years, and we made it last 4, but we had so much money. Like I said, I felt like it was too much for a county of 20,000 people to be able to sustain, but the evaluator at University of Iowa really said, you guys have made the difference. We worked really hard and tried to use the best way we could, that taxpayer money. That drug-free community grant was $125,000 a year, and we used that as best as we could as well. We've written some other small grants since then, and I'm actually now working for the statewide coalition too, trying to keep a full-time position, but I want to tell you about some of the things we've done in Jones County that have lowered and what we did back when we started asking the county. I remember Janine Salzner at the time, county auditor, said, we really would be great if we didn't just ask the county for money, but go around to the little communities as well. And we didn't do exactly the per capita, but we just kind of rounded it by asking most of the small communities for like $500. And Monticello and Anamosa have given like $3,000 towards to help us to be able to keep having some staff. And so that's the main thing. We raise mostly all the other money for the things we do, but the staff is what we really put. So we have Amy, who's worked for 17 years for me, and she comes up here more to Cascade than I do. She really is our youth coordinator, but she's worked with your kids at the school. We come into the career fair. She's had we have a Beasts group. The kids named the group in 2010 Being Excellent and Staying Totally Safe Beasts. They have all kinds of acronyms. But those kids they're all like our youth advisory group. And we still have one Cascade student right now. Our numbers are kind of down on that. We've been trying to build up the school student advocacy groups. And Amy is trying to work with the counselor here at Cascade too to see if we can get, like at Monticello, they have a pretty active SODA group. It's students opposed to drugs and alcohol. Midland we got them going again because they had one. Kids graduate. It's one of the things. You invest all this time in them, and you get these really great leaders, and then boy, they go off to college or they go on to work, which is great. We want them to do that. But anyway, it's a challenge to keep kids. I'm doing better keeping all the adults that are working on behalf of kids involved in our coalition. We meet monthly. We met here a few years ago, and I'd love to get, I know Fred's kind of on his way of retirement, but I want to keep that relationship going with Cascade PD. And so we have a lot of committees that work on like the social marketing, different things. But what the kids have done, particularly this group, they have created also their own campaigns. We've had campaigns on what's be the majority, when the majority was in the making healthy choices, and we have a strength in numbers and what's your natural high, and really promote that with a 5K we do every year, which is kind of a fundraiser too. We try to make a lot of our fundraisers be also something really fun and serving the kid and community. But the kids made these hilarious these posters of the schools, they're dad jokes, or what do you want to say, that go with data, but like just try to, not make everything so serious, right? And so it's chick it out or talk about it, and you'll see what the little taco is. Anyway, something fun they came up with, and actually some of your kids were kids that helped make that campaign. So, yep, those are just some of the things we do, we really are focusing more on mental health now because thankfully in seeing these numbers come down, but at the same time, I always say since about 2012, when kids stopped getting together quite as much and doing more smartphone, being on everything, social media, you have all these added pressures of not just bullying, but also just not getting together. And I feel like some of the reduction since 2012 has been just facts. Kids don't actually get together and do, like, party as much together even, which is a negative thing in a way. Yeah, yes, good, they're not getting drunk and getting killed out on the roads, right? Or not getting pregnant and those things, but at the same time, they're getting depressed and we're losing more kids. You know, thankfully not too many to suicide, but we have a lot of kids and have a lot of depression issues. We're trying to work on that. And our Midland group, they actually are focusing mostly on that. Monticello is too, but HOPE is they helping others persevere every day is their acronym for the new kids group we got going there again. And we're doing all kinds of things like training teachers on QPR, which is question, persuade, refer. We have some community trainings at Manamosa and Monticello on that. ASSIST is applied suicide intervention skills training. We're doing that. We've done a class called Mindful Teen. We're also doing youth, we have been doing these for a number of years, youth and adult mental health first aid trainings. So we're doing lots of things in my part-time that I can work for Jones County and trying to. So anyway, we just thank you for your support, and if you can continue to do what you've done, we appreciate it. It goes, like I said, to help mostly with our youth coordinator, Amy's salary, so a portion of that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this, yeah, I give you these little postcards here. So these are this new campaign we did with Talk They Hear You. We're doing a billboard on that too. We do have a grant on underage drinking, a small one right now to. So goes to our website where parents can go and get great information. And yeah, reaching parents, putting on community events, all those things are harder anymore to get parents in, you know, but we're trying every way we can, whether it's through all the social media websites and things like that, because sometimes they just don't come. We try every creative way we can possibly think of through parent-teacher conferences, hidden in plain sight events, different speakers, but sports and activities compete a lot with trying to reach parents who we feel are the most important people, of course, to reach to get to their kids.
Are you finding, I know it's decreasing some drinking and marijuana use, like vaping, is that?
Vaping went up, but then it's gone back down, but it's still, we have lost a lot of progress that we have made over the years with smoking. And vaping is still very hard, you know, hard on your lungs. I mean, so many things, nicotine is just bad, it is not good. Yeah, so we're definitely still focusing on that. And, you know, one of the things that you could think about, Monticello just did this, Mount Vernon did this, Iowa City is doing, I love Mount Vernon as opposed, to be honest. We started Monticello's and they took ours and made it better. But it's like smoke shop ordinances. And this isn't just nicotine, but it can kind of include, they did like any business is selling 10% or more of any intoxicating substances or paraphernalia. And they are zoning them. They have to grandfather in the ones that are already there, but they'll zone them like at least 500 to 1,000 feet away from schools or like the main downtown area where kids walk through. You know, it's kind of basically Monticello zone theirs out to the industrial complex. You know, because in the future, right now, because this was a big thing that was coming up, we started getting vape shops, basically vape shops down, you know. And so if that's something, I know Fred and I had talked about that a few years ago when the vaping issue really got bad, and you just went around and talked to each of the businesses and they said, you know, we won't sell this. A couple of the businesses at the time, and things may have changed. We haven't talked to them recently. Yeah. Yeah, because they keep changing. I mean, like, so that's one of the things I love about this idea of a smoke shop zoning, because then you don't just, it's constantly whack-a-mole with this issues, because if it's not vaping, then it's kratom now. You know, we have consumable hemp, you know, that's the THC that's snuck into Iowa trying to put, you know, we've done some state work. I'm working on state things too, trying to help, because some things we can't control as much locally, right? So anyway, but we can do these zoning ordinances locally and kind of keep our kids safer. So that's something I really believe strongly in the policy work we've done is what has moved the needle compared to just doing the same old things we used to do, just only, activities for kids 20 years ago, or only, only educating kids. Educating kids is still super important, and having alternative activities for kids is still important. But these things that get everybody, business, faith, parents, everybody together, law enforcement, and think about what can we do to truly reduce access and change the culture in our community around alcohol, marijuana, tobacco, all the things.
Thank you.
Hopefully just promote good, healthy living. That's what we try to do mostly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Enhancement, Rockin' on the River, and Cascade Hometown Days.
You're on, Linda.
I feel like I'm it.
You're the show.
I know that we're saving the best for last.
Best for last. There we go.
All right, what do you want me to start with first, Deanna?
Whatever, wherever
All right,
you start.
Hometown Days. The Cascade Hometown Days Committee would like to request funding for our 9th annual event, which is this year scheduled for August 15th through the 17th. It's always the third weekend in August. We are very excited to be going into our 9th year, and the committee has been working very hard on event plans. Our goal each year is to create an event that we can build on year after year, which allows us to come together and show our community spirit and pride. Our event seriously draws over 1,000 people each year, not only from Cascade, but from all areas out of town. We've found in the last few years it's been like a designation weekend. Families come back, class reunions are held. It's just, people talk about this is the time of year that they come home. So while in town for Hometown Days, these individuals also visit our local businesses and pour dollars into our community. So we thank you for considering our request and appreciate all of your support for this event in the past, because we couldn't do it without the volunteers. Everything we do is free except for the food and the drinks, which other people are there to sell that. So we try, and the music and all the events we do for kids, and we try and make everything free. So it's kind of cool. Okay, that's Hometown Days. So Rockin' on the River, we are going to be 15 this year. So excited. We started in 2010 borrowing trailers from contractors, good old Itch Monternack, for the bands and renting porta potties. In 2011, we built the beautiful amphitheater. Currently, kids 10 and under are always allowed to come for free. We do try and keep our costs low. We were $5 for a long time. We raised it to $10, about 5 years ago. So our only income is the gate money, which is what we need to pay for the bands, the sound, and the advertising. We let people bring in their own drinks. We always have a food vendor on site. Some shows don't cover the costs. Some shows we break even, and some shows we might make a little, which helps the shows that don't break even. But over the last 15 years, we have seen all costs associated with these events going up. There used to be the bands would bring their own sound, and now they don't do that anymore. So that's one of the biggest expenses, is the sound every 3 times a year. We do it in June, July, and August. And but we appreciate the support you give us every year. Your continuation will help us to continue these great events. And again, it's like Hometown Days. People come in and they spend money other places too, and they always say they're going to come back. And today we were informed that a national touring band that we've been dealing with said yes. So sometime we will announce that. But in the meantime, we appreciate your donation too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
When's that announcement gonna be?
We're going home?
Yeah, we go.
We need to adjourn first.
Yeah, we gotta adjourn first.
If there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Weber,
Second.
second by Hush. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thanks, everybody.
Anybody ever opposed?
I don't think so. You want me to?
Who seconded?
Oh, Bill
I
did.
got a question, so like,
I was looking at the time.
Tri-County.
Got a weird.
Well, let's go on a drive and
No,
course, Bill.
we have 8,000.